Now, to discuss this further, we have with us Dr. Avner Cohen, who's a professor of non-proliferation and terrorism studies at Middlebury Institute. So, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA.
My pleasure.
Now, sir, of course, first things first, is the UNGA's call for a ceasefire, is this vote for a ceasefire of any consequence, considering the United States stands firmly behind Israel?
Well, it has some political weight. It's non-binding. It simply shows that the pressure on Israel is growing, that the clock is ticking, and Israel has a limited amount of time to continue with its effort to eradicate Hamas.
Dr. Cohen, you know, the Israeli Prime Minister said that Israel and US, they differ about a post-war Gaza rule. My question was, what happens to Gaza once the war is over? Because Israel has pretty much gone through the north and is pretty much clearing out the south as well. There's little left. What happens next?
Well, to be blunt, the Israeli Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu, has become less and less relevant. This is a man that lost its legitimacy in Israel itself. Polls shows that he has about somewhere between 30 to 40% of support. It's almost certain that in one way or another he will be removed. He is trying to jeopardize Israel's future for his own sake. It's clear that after the war is over, at least in its present phase, there needs to be some kind of civil governance over Gaza, and the Israeli army cannot and does not want to do that. Somebody else has to do that. And there is a consensus, and I think there is even in Israel some kind of agreement that that should be in the context of some kind of discussion towards a Palestinian state, two-state solution. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu opposed that, and he opposed it to a large extent because he wants to survive. He wants to survive politically, but also criminally. He's now being indicted, and there is a trial in Israel against him. He may go to jail. So it's a terrible situation for the Israeli public politics because there is no clear and obvious and immediate political instrument to depose it, even though the majority of the Israelis would like him to be over, to be gone, not to be the prime minister at this point.
All right, sir. That being said, let's also talk about the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Gaza. Gazans aren't left with many options. How do you see things unfolding on that front? What options are they left with?
Well, as you said, there are less and less options. I do not see Israel ending at the present time its offensive. The Israeli public would not accept that, and Israel is committed to do more than it has done in terms of the Hamas. I do see strong pressure on Israel from the United States and from others to be more discriminative in the way that it's exercised its military power. In my view, we don't have, the clock is very much ticking, and I do not think that Israel has much more time beyond January 1st or January 7th, something like that. In the meantime, there should be some transfer of the basic fundamentals of necessities to Gaza. Unfortunately, the Hamas is trying to take much of it to his own. So there is a humanitarian crisis, and it's very, very difficult to see how it's being resolved. Unfortunately, even the Saudis and the Emirates and others who could give a hand because of the position of the Israeli Prime Minister, they are also retreating. So I don't know what will happen. It is a very complex, impasse, challenging situation.
All right, Dr. Cohen, thank you so much for joining in and sharing all your insights right here with us on World DNA. We'd like to have you back for further details and a further discussion on how matters proceed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.